Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range to do some meter testing of the Rugged Suppressor 7.62 Surge. And this is what the suppressor comes packaged in. Unfortunately, guys, I left the spanner tool out, and I'll explain why that's going to be a bit of a problem for today's video. But I'll get into that when I get into the features of the silencer. So I have the silencer right here. This is the Rugged Surge 7.62. It's mounted to my Midwest Industries Model 10F, a 308 caliber semi-automatic gas gun, and it is set up right now in its long configuration, which is 9 inches from tip to end. And you can also unscrew the very end of the suppressor, take a couple baffles out of the stack, put it back together at its 7.5 inch K configuration, and you can shorten the overall length of the silencer. Now, both configurations, the 7.5 inch and the 9 inch, are rated up to 300 Remington Ultra Mag caliber. So that's pretty substantial. That means you can run pretty much anything you want through this in terms of 30 caliber. If you take this off, again, even in the 7.5 inch configuration, it can handle that Ultra Mag, 300 Ultra Mag chambering. So, but you can also shoot it with a 5.56, a 300 Blackout, 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, even a 22 if you really wanted to, 22 long rifle. So the can is fairly flexible in what you can do with it. Now, because I left that spanner wrench back at the shop, I won't be able to take the end cap off, which you can see here, which is replaceable. This is a 30 caliber end cap. You can also put a 5.56 caliber end cap on it. I won't be able to shorten the can to test it sound wise on the meter this afternoon. Just know that if you take this end cap off and this end of the suppressor, take a couple of baffles out of the stack, it's actually going to get louder with 308 and larger calibers. With 300 Blackout, the K configuration would be ideal. But for 308, you're definitely going to see an increase in the sound levels if you shorten the can. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you this afternoon what those increases will be because we're only going to be testing it in its 9 inch configuration. The silencer is attached via a direct coarse thread mount. So you have a locking collar right here where my index finger is, and you can twist that locking collar to unlock it, and now about 2.5 revolutions of the silencer and it'll pull right off of its muzzle device. This is a 3-chamber brake. You can buy different muzzle devices for your Surge. If you want to put it back on, you just hit it on those coarse threads, make a couple of revolutions, lock it into place, turn that locking collar, and now the can is properly affixed to the end of your barrel. You're not going to blow it off. It's not going to walk off under recoil. It won't unscrew itself. And it goes back to the exact same point every time. So if you're using this suppressor, say, on a precision rifle, you shouldn't have any problems with your point of impact shifting when you mount and unmount the silencer to your gun. I will also say, from my testing in the past, they kind of tout the fact that you can make this a 5.56 can or buy a muzzle device and run this 30 caliber can on a 5.56, and that you can replace the end cap and make it 5.56 in diameter. I've noticed in my testing in the past, putting those end caps on makes very little to almost no difference in terms of the sound readings we get with the decibel meter. So I just think those are a huge waste of money. I know that the Rugged markets that as some great feature, but it's really not, and it's a waste of money. In my opinion, just buy it as a 30 caliber and leave this end cap on it. All right, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to head over and do some testing with our Brulu Care meter. We have some Freedom munitions that we're going to be using for our testing this afternoon. This is 155 grain hollow point boat tail. It is newly manufactured, and this is what it looks like. It's kind of a match load that we will be testing the gun with to get our readings. So let's head over to the firing line over there, get everything all set up. We're going to take a couple of different measurements. We're going to do it 1.6 meters off the ground, 1 meter left, which is the industry standard for some reason. And then we're going to measure it where it really counts, especially on a gas gun, which is about 15 centimeters or about 6 inches off the shooter's right ear. So we're going to take both measurements for you guys this afternoon and talk a little bit more about the Surge. Okay, we're all set up. We have the Midwest Industries 10F 308 gas gun set up in this Reaper rest, and if you guys are interested in this rest, it's actually pretty cool. I use it for hunting, but it makes the perfect rest for doing sound meter testing as well because it locks the gun down. This can be found at reaperrest.com. It's reaper-rest.com. All right, so we got the gun all set up. We're 1.6 meters off the ground. We have the Brulucare 2700 setting 1 meter left of the muzzle. This is an old, in my opinion, arbitrary measuring standard, but this is what the military did eons ago. The military has since changed its standards, but for whatever reason, this particular measurement has remained an industry standard within the suppressor community. We're also going to do a more practical reading, which is, especially in the case of a gas gun, 6 inches off the shooter's right ear. So we're going to go ahead and get this all set up. We have the 155 grain Freedom munitions, hollow point boat tail ammo. This is some match ammo. We're going to run 5 rounds of it through this Surge and Midwest Industries Model 10F. We're going to go ahead and reset the meter here really quick. And let me grab my hearing. And we're going to go ahead and take that first shot. .3. 139.5. $138.7. $137.9. And 136.2. So it stayed just under hearing safe at the muzzle. Now we're going to reset everything up so that we can measure just 6 inches off the shooter's ear, which is the new CSAS requirement. This 1.6 meters off the ground, 1 meter left, I think has been kind of a plight on the suppressor community as a whole because everybody's making cans to be quiet at this measurement point, which again is an arbitrary number. This means nothing to me as a shooter. What I care about in the civilian world is how quiet does the can make it to my hearing? Am I preserving my hearing or not? And that's what we're going to find out now is using the CSAS spec, which one of the measurements, the threshold measurement, is 15 centimeters or 6 inches off the shooter's right ear. If a can cannot be at 140 decibels or below that for CSAS, the can was rejected from testing. Of course, OSS won that suppressor competition with the HK rifle. So now we're going to get everything all set up and we're going to take that new threshold measurement and see exactly how loud this can is on a gas gun. Now keep in mind, if you use this same suppressor on a bolt action, you won't have gas escaping coming back down the barrel and popping right here by your face. So the readings that we took are valid. That's less than 140 decibels going away from the shooter in a bolt action. This measurement at the right ear is more practical for a gas gun where we have chamber pop because about, well, a good portion of that gas pressure comes back down the barrel and vents right next to the shooter's ear. When it hits that oxygen, it combusts and pops. I call it chamber pop, and that's what rings our ear. All right, let's get it all set up. Now I have the system set up so that this pickup, this pressure sensor, is 6 inches off my right ear. We're using the exact same ammunition. We're going to run 5 rounds to get a good understanding of what the average decibel reading is. I'm going to go ahead and reset the meter here. $149.3. I think you can probably see that on the camera if you bring the camera around. So 149.3. That's well above hearing safe, And in my past testing with 308 cans at this point with the same rifles, right around 150 decibels. So this is tracking with our previous tests. $148.7. All right. $150.3. $149 decibels flat. Yeah. Reset it here. And 150 decibels flat. You can see that again with the camera. So once again, guys, these numbers track with previous tests we've done with standard 30 caliber cans at the shooter's ear on a gas gun. So at 150 decibels, pretty much any can except for the OSS so far that we've tested has been very damaging to the shooter's hearing behind the gun. So that's something to take into consideration when you're shopping for a silencer. Now, again, if this is a suppressor for a bolt action rifle, it really isn't going to matter because we're not going to have that gas escaping from the chamber area because the bolt stays in the locked position. But on a gas gun, be aware of that, especially when you're talking about 308s. This isn't quite as loud with a 5.56, but it's still right there where it's not quite hearing safe at the shooter's ear. Keep that in mind when you're running your suppressed rifles, guys. Save your hearing. OSHA tells us, and I know a bunch of people are going to say 85 decibels is what OSHA says is max allowable hearing. That's not true. OSHA allows for 140 decibels with a single impact noise. All right, that means one sharp blow of a hammer on steel or one gunshot. 140 decibels or below is considered hearing safe. Now at 140 decibels, if I'm doing a mag dump with no hearing protection, I'm still damaging my hearing because it's no longer a single impact noise. So just to show you guys this, take a look at how loud my voice is. I'm gonna go ahead and run this. And so just right now we're over, what are we reading? We're 102 decibels just with me talking, and I'm not screaming or whistling or anything. So that should give you guys an idea of just how loud 85 decibels is for those of you that say, oh, 85 decibels is damaging your hearing. This is gonna be 130 decibels. That's as loud as a gunshot. Okay, guys? So keep in mind, 140 decibels for a single impact noise, and you should be hearing safe. This can is not hearing safe at the shooter's right ear on a gas gun. So what we learned about the Surge this afternoon is that at the muzzle, it's about average for a 308 in terms of performance. Now the can is made out of stainless steel, 17.4 stainless steel and stellite. I wouldn't call it a lightweight can, it's very heavy, but they say it's belt fed rated, whatever that means. I've never heard of such a rating, but I think what they're trying to say there is that they stand behind the product if you put it on a rifle and just run the snot out of the gun. Or if you have a belt fed, if you're one of the lucky few, you could run this on your belt fed for a while. Now keep in mind, suppressors get very hot. I don't care who makes them. You run them that hard and that long, you're eventually going to get one to burst off the end of the barrel. So, but apparently this can survive longer bursts of 308 fire. I don't know. I don't have a belt fed M60 or 240 Bravo to test it on, so we'll leave that up to you guys. I'm just taking a look at the Silencer Shop website here, and they're talking about the sound reduction is down to 134 to 138.4 decibels. Now the guys over at Silencer Shop run the exact same sound meter that I do. As a matter of fact, when we went out to purchase our sound meter, we wanted to mirror the setup of Silencer Shop, and they're saying 138.4 decibels, which seems to track with what our findings were here this afternoon at the muzzle. Again, that's 1.6 meters off the ground, 1 meter left. You know, just under that 140 decibel threshold for being hearing safe. Now, when we switch the tables around to the non-industry standard, but what I believe should be the industry standard measurement, and that's 6 inches off the shooter's ear on the right side, especially on a gas gun, we saw this can go way over 140 decibels, so it is not hearing safe on your AR-10 or whatever gas gun you might have, M1A or a G3 or an FAL, anything that's gas operated that has that bolt unlocking automatically. Upon firing, you're going to find that this can will not be hearing safe. The modularity of the can, you can unscrew and take a couple of baffles out of the stack and make it a K configuration. Now, once you do that, keep in mind, you've now shortened the can to 7.5 inches, but it's not going to suppress as well, especially with 308. Now, I could see this being quite useful for 300 blackout or something like that, but if you're running a 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor or 300 Ultra Mag or 300 Win Mag, you're going to find that you're probably going to want to go ahead and run it in its full 9-inch configuration just for suppression's sake, especially if you're doing a bolt action gun. Might as well keep it as quiet as you can. With regards to the shooter's ear, this can's never going to be safe on a gas gun. Now, these things retail for about $1,300, which, yeah, that's kind of pricey for what it is. Now, if you log into the Silencer Shop website, you can see exactly what their price is, and it's just under $1,000. But you can take a look at the SIG suppressors, for example. I found that those things test extremely well, the 30 caliber cans, and they're a lot less expensive, several $100s less expensive. Same thing with the Griffin Armament Rec E7. Right now they're doing a $200 rebate on an already good price over on Silencer Shop. That puts it more than several $100s less than this suppressor. So do I think this thing is worth $1,000 or $1,300 at full MSRP? In my opinion, no. I think there are just as good or better suppressors out there on the market for that price. Now, I don't doubt that this thing isn't built like a tank. It certainly feels like it. It's a heavy can. But I run a lot of Rec E7s, and I really like how they suppress, how lightweight they are. But again, they're not hearing safe either. The only can that we've tested out here that's hearing safe at the shooter's ear is OSS so far. Now, there are some other suppressors I hear that are coming to market that will make use of that pass-through technology that OSS has a patent on. Supposedly, these other cans made overseas don't infringe on that patent. That's yet to be seen, but we may start to see rifle caliber suppressors become more and more hearing safe at the shooter's right ear. I just wish the industry as a whole would start to shift towards measuring at the shooter's ear versus measuring at some arbitrary distance off the muzzle. One last feature of this suppressor that I'll point out is that it is a black Cerakote finish. It's a high temp Cerakote, so it's about as durable as you can get on a suppressor. The Cerakote holds up nicely, but if you run this thing on a belt fed, because it is belt fed rated supposedly, you will get this thing so hot that you'll probably see some of that finish start to come off the center. Not a big deal. Send it out to somebody like Copper Custom. We can re-Cerakote it for you if it really bothers you. Me personally, I don't care if the finish starts to come off because I like the used look. All right, guys, that's about it. That's my take on the Surge suppressor. I think it's a high-quality suppressor. I think it does as good as other cans on the market. I certainly don't see anything special about it in terms of price or features. It's just okay. I think that the price is just a little bit too high for my own personal taste. I have other cans out there that I would rather invest in. The locking mechanism is nice and positive. There's a lot of Silencer Co. products out there like the MAD system and stuff that's absolutely horrendous. I recommend people avoid those locking systems altogether at all costs. This one, on the other hand, seems to be fairly durable. It's fairly quick with the coarse thread, and then the locking collar seems to work out pretty well, so it should work well on a precision rifle. If you guys would like to help us in our fight to restore our freedoms for the Second Amendment, I ask that you follow the link down below to join the NRA. If you've let your membership lapse or if you've never been an NRA member, please consider joining the NRA. Yes, I've been their critic in the past, probably one of their most vocal critics, but that's all changed now that Pete Brownell is the president of the NRA, which happened at their most recent meetings down in Atlanta, Georgia. I've had many conversations with Pete, both in person and on the phone, and I can get behind the NRA and what they're trying to do for the next 4 years under a friendly administration and trying to turn back some of these draconian gun laws that we live under. Follow that link down below. It is a special link. I can't take any kickbacks from the NRA for you guys joining because I'm doing this because I'm trying to preserve our Second Amendment. So I contacted the NRA and said, hey, for using my special link, can I take those proceeds that would come to me normally and donate them to a charity of my choice? And they said absolutely. And that charity of choice is Hero Hunt. We featured them here on the channel before. I ask that you guys follow the link down below to Hero Hunt. It's a very noble cause. It takes out all of our nation's first responders that have been injured in the line of duty or may have post-traumatic stress disorder, including our wounded warriors that were in the military. So first responders, firemen, EMT, police and military veterans, all of them are taken care of with Hero Hunt, a very, very good cause and nonprofit organization. Guys, also, if you'd like to support us here on the Military Arms Channel, a great way to do that is to swing by and check out our Patreon page and become a subscriber. We've turned it into a buyer's club. We post some of the best deals you're going to find on the internet. I guarantee you won't find any lower prices, and we do that specifically and only for our patron members through Copper Custom. So swing by, check it out. It really does help out here at the channel, helps keep us going, keep us producing the videos. We are not corporate sponsored by any firearms manufacturers, so that's how we kind of fund the operations here. But you can also check out Copper Custom, which is our online store. I invite you guys to swing by. You can also support us there. And if you haven't already, check out full30.com. That's full30.com. We've taken all the web's best firearms content creators and brought them under one gun-friendly roof, the gun tube, if you will, of the world, and that is full30.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for all those years of support. We'll talk to you guys soon.